Disclaimer: this series revolves around looking at media and figuring out if they are suitable for children. Regardless of the outcome, it has nothing to do with my opinion on the thing in question. This is less of a review and more like an investigation. Parents and guardians, you've been warned. And please take my information to heart before showing your children the content. Thank you, and enjoy this video.
Netflix. Easily the biggest streaming service in the world. They sure have a lot of content to choose from. And for the holidays, they did have an original animated movie called Klaus. It's a masterpiece, and lots of people got upset when it lost to Toy Story 4 for the Best Animated Feature Film Award at the 2020 Oscars. Well, my objective here is to dive deeply into this motion picture and figure out if youth can see it, whether it would be with or without adult supervision. Have those letters ready, and be sure they are sealed in envelopes with a coin attached to them, because your toy won't arrive unless you do all that. Hey, I'm Owen, the fiction fanboy, and welcome to another installment of Is This for Kids? Klaus. Movie kicks off with letters coming down, and on top of the pile is one in a blue envelope. We get a brief view on how the letter business works here, and Jesper is slacking off in his cozy tent instead of doing the training assigned to him. He then shortly gets summoned to see his father. The dad glosses over his son's lackluster job performance, and he puts his foot down by sending Jesper to Smearensburg so he can deliver 6,000 letters in 1 year. Failure to complete his task will result in being cut off from his family's fortune. When our protagonist's journey began, he already hated getting to his destination. Now we get to meet the ferryman, Mogans, who has Jesper ride his boat to the town. Upon arrival, we see some creepy kids building a distressed snowman, and the postman is tricked into ringing the bell for the supposed reception. As you can see, instead of a warm welcome, we get a fight between families. Desperately wanting to avoid involvement, Jesper enters a place he believes is a school, but is actually a fish store run by Alva. She explains that the citizens spend more time at war rather than making letters, and she's saving money to get the heck out of Dodge. If things weren't weird enough, Jesper's home is a post office that became a chicken barn. His new life was miserable, and not a single thing has been mailed yet. Though by some miracle, a piece of paper flew at his face. It was a drawing made by a little boy who lives in the house shaped like the one drawn. Jesper's attempt at having the youngling mail the picture backfired. Time flew by, and when it seemed the bright side was gone, Mogans informed us of a woodsman that lives far away. After quite a ride, Jesper has entered the isolated cabin. In there was some toys, but the woodsman was coming, and fearing he was going to get murdered, Jesper stumbled upon scary dolls before escaping. The hooded figure picked up the drawing Jesper accidentally left behind, causing him to catch the mailman swiftly. Together, they went to deliver the picture to its artist, and it was tough for the postman due to the security. Nevertheless, the delivery was done, and along with the illustration, the boy also got a wind-up frog, which made him happy. The next morning, a few children showed up at the post office with letters they wanted to send to Mr. Klaus. They had the pennies to go with the letters so they could receive toys. Thus, the trend went around town, making another trip to the woodsman necessary for the mailman. Crafting and hanging up birdhouses is what the woodsman was currently doing, making Jesper relieved he wouldn't get killed. Klaus dismissed the idea of giving more toys at first, yet agreed to send them at night. The crumb boy with the toy frog stumbled upon an Ellingbo girl, and they played together, upsetting the parents from both families. We, along with the children, are told the history of the hatred between the two sides of the town, and the elders now know who is responsible for the madness. A few more deliveries had been made, and on another morning with loads of children having letters to send, Margu, a Sami-speaking girl, was introduced, and there are some kids who do not know how to write. This gave Jesper the idea to convince Alva to enter fish biz and treat her place like a school. Disregarding how badly she wanted to leave, Alva didn't really have any choice except to educate those who must have writing lessons so they can make letters. Word about Klaus was spread across the town fast, from knowing the mysterious delivery man goes down the chimney to the awareness of his milk and cookies enjoyment. However, when Jesper made a delivery to someone who has been bullying him, he put a lump of coal in the jerk's stocking, which led to the meanie wondering what that was all about. Jesper answers by saying that he knows how kids behave, and keeps a list called the Naughty List. And while Jesper was acting cool about it, a short rap centered on him plays, and I thought this is supposed to take place before the 21st century. Thus, children were encouraged to be on their best behavior and do as many good things as possible. Jesper may be halfway through his goal, but the leaders of the two families tried to stop Klaus and Jesper one night, with neither of the villains succeeding. To make matters worse for the haters, Klaus upgraded to a sled as it's more useful for slippery snow. Margot appeared before Jesper once again, and the two rivaling families agreed to have a temporary truce so they could stop the families from bonding with one another. A certain holiday was upon them, giving Jesper the idea of spreading Christmas to the neighborhood. Unfortunately, Klaus wasn't up for it, and Jesper ignores his response by unveiling something personal. During Jesper's departure, Margot showed up again, and just like a majority of the audience, we can't understand her. Where are the subtitles for decipherment when we need it? Luckily, Jesper knew exactly what to do. Take her to Alva's school and translate what the Sami girl is saying so she can have a letter sent to Klaus. Did this mean the mailman and Joybringer can work together again? Yes, since they were able to make a sail sled and please Margot along with her parents. Meanwhile, the Peace Loathers realize Jesper is roughly 2,000 letters away from leaving Smearensburg, and Klaus explains why he made the toys in the first place. He and his wife, Lydia, wanted children, but never got any due to sickness, and ever since she was no longer with him, Klaus started crafting birdhouses dedicated to Lydia's love for birds. Once the backstory was over, Klaus figured out the Christmas thing would be a great idea to satisfy everyone. As if Alva's school being refurbished wasn't surprising enough for Jesper, the whole town was in a festive mood. The good people may have been preparing for the jolly holiday, yet the leaders of the family had many letters made and put onto Mogen's boat. Just when it seemed things went smoothly on Christmas Eve, Jesper's dad arrived. Hearing that 14,000 letters had been mailed was something he simply couldn't resist congratulating his son in person. Sadly, this revealed to Jesper's supposed friends that everything he did was for his own personal gain, giving the postman no choice except to leave with his father. The fair ride only lasted a few seconds, as Jesper did return to Margot, and with perfect timing to see the clans approaching Klaus. Little did Jesper know, by getting on the sleigh without the reindeer, began a chase. Along the way, a child from both clans ended up falling in love with one another. It looked like the families would continue their wrath when all hope appeared to be lost, yet Uno, Romeo and Juliet, and Dos, the sack had logs instead of toys. The real gifts did make it to the children. The families were no longer enemies. The postman and Alva became a couple. Klaus and the postman continued the very tradition for years, and although Klaus vanished on their 12th year, Jesper was glad knowing Klaus was still around. And with that done, it's time to discuss the outcome. Alright, so what did I get? Children will be entertained by the overall story. They'll get the Christmas spirit, learn about accepting differences in the end, along with why spoiled people have to be disciplined, and it's full of heart. Nevertheless, there are a few scares. Family war may be a little heavy topic for younger audiences, and most folk would understand the Sami residents. So, is Klaus for kids? My observation is yes, as long as they are at least 7 years old, and although it wouldn't hurt to have an adult around, youth 10 and up can handle the film by themselves. PG is a pretty accurate rating for the movie, and it's fitting for a nifty family festivity. That, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the Christmas edition of Is This for Kids?
There's plenty more where this came from. Please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you can receive them offerings. Be sure you also comment below and follow me on Instagram for perky teasers and thumbnail previews of forthcoming YouTube videos. Farewell, folks, and have a holly jolly night-o!